Hi, my name is Josh Alexander and this is a bench press tutorial. Today I'm going to tell you how the exercise is performed, proper warm-ups, and even progressions for the exercise as you get better along. We're also going to cover which athletes this is for and what kind of movement patterns it entails. This exercise of bench press is usually geared towards push-pull athletes. Some examples are basketball players with the forward pass, football players such as linemen, lacrosse and hockey players in checking, and there are many other examples of where this pattern is helpful. So here we have our volunteer athlete, and he's going to show us the proper movement pattern for the exercise. To do this exercise, you need to use the horizontal push pattern and have mastery of the movement. The horizontal push pattern consists of elbow flexion and horizontal adduction and flexion of the shoulder. This is essential and primary to the bench press because without this movement, you cannot complete the lift. To warm up this exercise, I have chosen 5 exercises and stretches that will prepare the athlete for the lifting motion. The first is regular push-ups. This exercise prepares the movement pattern of horizontal push and activates all 3 primary muscles in the exercise. You should do about 20 reps of these to warm up. The next exercise that we're going to demonstrate is the triceps pushdown. Normally these are done on a cable machine, but today we will just show the motion. This exercise isolates the triceps and makes sure that they are properly warmed up to assist in heavy lifting. The athlete should perform about 2 sets of 10 reps with light weight to make sure that they are properly warmed up. The next exercise we will show you today are dumbbell flies. This is done on a flat bench, grabbing 2 equal weights and laying on the flat of the back. The athlete should focus on form in this exercise to properly warm on the chest. This exercise is important because it forces stabilization and activation on both arms separately to make sure that each side is doing its job and is properly warmed up. Again, 2 sets would be required with about 8 reps using light weight just to warm up. The next exercise will be the dumbbell press. This mimics the exact lift, but it's done with dumbbells to make sure that each arm is properly warmed up. Again, stabilization is a focus here, thus using dumbbells instead of the bar. The athlete should try to emphasize correct form and synchronization in the hands using the light weight to make sure that they are warmed up and doing the lift properly. 2 sets would be good for warm-up with about 8 reps in each set. Now we'll move to the last warm-up, which is a stretch called the hugger stretch. This forces a dynamic opening of the chest when you switch the top arms and you open and close all the way for a full stretch. 20 reps will be performed with 10 of each arm being on top. The athlete should focus on getting the arms all the way around and the chest all the way open so that they are properly warmed up for the next lift. Now we will move to the actual lift. The athlete will lie with their back flat on the bench and their face just behind the bar. 45-degree abduction in the shoulder with their hands just outside the shoulders about 4 inches apart. To find correct hand grip, you should push the hands straight up to the bar from this position and adjusting accordingly. Thumbs over the fingers are for proper grip, and there should also be a small arch in the lower back. You can remind an athlete of this by reminding them that they should imagine a tennis ball in their lower back throughout the exercise. The athlete can also emphasize core stability by reminding them that they should pull their belly button to their back to keep a tight core throughout the exercise. In terms of feet, the knees should be flexed just behind 90 to about 80 degrees, and you can remind the athlete through the exercise to drive their feet into the floor to make sure that their feet placement is proper throughout the whole thing. Now we are ready to start the lift. The movement will always start with extended arms, and a spotter will usually help with unracking the weight, but since we are just using the bar, this isn't necessary. The weight will come down in a vertical line over the nipples until it touches the chest in a level horizontal pattern. The bar should not be moving forward or backwards. Keeping a level bar, the athlete exhales upon lifting the bar and pushes it straight up, you can remind the athlete to drive the weight to the ceiling to make sure that they are doing this properly. Common mistakes are the athlete pushing the bar not in a level pattern, as seen here. Feet movement is also a common mistake. During the lift, the athlete can become unstable and either lift their feet or move them left or right. The spine and core can also become out of alignment as they try to extend too much with the spine or move side to side with their body. Holding the breath can also be a sign of incorrect form. This is not good for breathing, and it can really affect the athlete. Bending the wrist is also a detriment and should be avoided. Wrists should be straight throughout the entire lift. Upon completion of the lift, a spotter will help rack the weight, and the exercise is over. To recap the verbal cues, you can remind the athlete to drive their feet into the ground, pretend that there is a tennis ball in their lower back, push their belly button into their spine. To achieve proper chest opening, you can remind them to pinch a piece of paper between their shoulder blades, and you can also remind them to drive their weight to the ceiling as they are trying to finish the lift. Now that you know the correct routine, here's some supplemental and progressive exercises to enhance the lift and perfect the pattern required. First, we'll go back to a variation of the bench press itself, starting with a close grip press. This exercise is more tricep focused as the hands are closer together. This is important because the triceps have even more activation than the normal lift. This can help in both tricep toning and in getting the triceps stronger for more weight in the actual exercise. Triceps also help with stabilization throughout the entire lift once higher weight is added. Now we'll move to the next exercise. The next one is wide grip press. This is more pectoralis focused and it expands the chest more throughout the lift. This can be used for someone who is looking for more chest activation or just for more stabilization when more weight is added. It targets the muscles in a different way with more emphasis being placed on the chest. Hands are placed wider apart, and so the pectoralis is greatly affected throughout the range of motion. The next exercise is the incline press, and to do this, we're going to move to a different bench. The incline forces shoulder activation and clavicular pectoralis activation. The shoulder activation will help stabilize in a normal pattern when more weight is added as the lift progresses. The lift is the same hand grip as the normal bench press, but as you can see, the incline forces more shoulder activation. The next exercise for progression are the cable flies. To demonstrate this motion, the athlete should stand with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, and it's similar to the dumbbell fly except done in a standing position. This involves more chest expansion in the full range of motion, and it helps with stabilization in the chest muscles. This exercise also helps the shoulder pinch motion that is a verbal cue in the entire exercise. And now we'll move to the last progressive exercise, military push-ups. Similar to normal push-ups, except the hands are closer together directly underneath the shoulders. This forces tricep activation and isolation during the pattern. The alternate environment of stress also gives the athlete just a different way to balance and stabilize. This can be helpful as the athlete adds more weight to their maximal lift. Now you've seen how the exercises are done, how to properly warm up, and how to progress as you get stronger. Thank you for watching.